Hello, hello, hello. TM24 here, and we are back with some more Marvel Snap content. Now, if you're just now finding the channel, welcome. I hope you find this video entertaining as we're talking about Spider-Ham. And if you are a returning viewer, hey, I hope you enjoy it just as much, maybe even more, because I really do appreciate the continued support. My llama here who's hanging out appreciates the support as well. But let's talk about Spider-Ham. So, new card just added the other day. Now, he's a 1/1. It's going to hit your opponent's highest cost card and turn it into, into a pig. They keep the same cost, they keep the same power, but they're going to end up losing out on their ability. So, I think that just kind of on the base of it, at a 1/1, take away the ability of your opponent's highest cost card. Honestly, that's pretty good, and it might just be enough on its own to warrant inclusions in a lot of decks. A lot of the times you're hitting things like Dr. Dooms, like Deaths, like all those big 6-drops. And even if they don't have those 6-drops, if you're hitting their higher cost cards, 4 cost, 5 costs, you're taking away a lot of power that they have. Now, I wanted to try Spider-Ham in a couple of different decks. So I've got gameplay footage here of 2 decks. As you can see, this first one is a bounce deck, and we drew Spider. So we're gonna get to see right here what he takes out. Now, with it being a destroy deck, it's probably gonna be Death, which is huge. But let's see if that's what he actually gets before we go into depth. It's Null. So not Death, but Null, another huge source of power from these destroy style decks, especially in this game because of that center location. That Null could have soloed that location by itself. Now, the rest of this deck is just a bounce version. I've got your standard, all your usual suspects. We've got the Hood, we've got Kitty. I like Bast in this list because hitting everything feels great. Yeah, Beast, you lose 1, but honestly, it's worth the trade-off. We already talked about Spider. We wanted to try him out. I felt like bounce decks could be a good inclusion because maybe you can get more than 1 proc off. Because you can get him down early, you can bring him back, and it gives your opponent time to draw more cards so that you can play him again. So that's kind of the idea. Unfortunately, it doesn't work where he's going to hit the next lowest card. So if it's a 6-drop, the only 6-drop they have, he's always going to hit that same 6-drop. It's just going to be a pig for forever. The rest of this list, we've got Iceman, we've got Angela, Hitmonkey, Falcon, Mysterio as our 2-drops. Again, tons of power. We all know how to play bounce. We've got Bishop and Beast as our 3-drops, and then Chavez for a little bit more consistent draw. But you really see some of the value that Ham provided in this game, which is why I picked this game as one of the ones to show. Without that Null, they had to come up with a different plan. As you can see, Spider-Ham came out, hit that pig again. So didn't do a whole lot there, but they couldn't even go and win that Onslaught Citadel, which typically they would have been able to with Null alone. So a lot of the value from Ham is going to come from, the denial of your opponent's abilities. We've got another bounce game here, and then we're going to move on to the next deck. So you'll want to see that one as well. That's a little bit more of a control / high roll style. And here is Spider-Ham again, coming through and taking out that Death. Now, what this also does is it gives us information. So we know now that they're playing some sort of a destroy deck. Maybe it's Galactus, it's got that off chance. But we also know that we can't get any other value out of Ham other than a 1/1 that's being played. It already hit the highest cost card in the game, so we're not going to be able to hit like a different 6-drop or something like that. This deck just runs like, regular bounce at this point. We're getting the Hood down to get some demons. Falcon's going to come down, bringing all our 1-drops back to our hand, allowing us to play them all over again, powering up our Bishop, our Angela. Obviously, we're going to want to fight for the Nexus here, given the way this game is playing out. They do get Deathlock down on top of Bucky Barnes, which is actually a huge play. Unfortunately for them, we've got the Bifrost. So those two are going to move on over to the Bifrost out of the Nexus, and we can still hold most of our power and play it on turn 5 and turn 6. You can see here, I'm contemplating what I want to play because I know everything is going to shift to the right. So do I want to play Bishop, or would I rather have him in the Nexus? Do I want to play the Hood, or would I rather have the Hood for turn 6, something like that? I definitely took my time with this one because I felt like this could be a big play. We know the Nexus is going to stick around. They could still have a null in their hand, which unfortunately we weren't able to affect. Luckily, they've only destroyed a Bucky Barnes so far, so the null's not going to be super strong. But you can see here, I'm really contemplating what I want to play. Ultimately, I decided to go with just the Hood here. We want to get another demon in our hand for, for turn 6. We know everything's sliding to the right, and because it's not going to the lab, the Bifrost gets filled up for them. Now turn 5 comes along, and we want to start getting some power down. Now, do we want to get Bishop and play a bunch of 1-drops? Do we want to play a couple of 1-drops and try and bounce them back to our hand with Beast? Ultimately, we're going to go Angela, Bishop. We feel like that's going to give us the best chance to win. And I'm glad that I didn't play any 1-drops. Granted, we would have bounced them back with Beast, but they did play their Killmonger right there, so we know next turn our demons are going to be safe. And, that's what we're playing for at this point. They, again, weren't able to destroy a whole lot, so their null is not going to be all that strong, and we're able to let those demons loose on the Angela and Bishop lane in the Nexus, and though that's just going to power us through, towards the end of the game here. And you'll see here, now they're turn 6, they don't have a null, or they don't have a death to play, which typically would have came down already, or would be coming down now. Null, obviously, they haven't done a whole lot of destroying, so they are really in a tough spot, and their best play is just to go with a Venom, and I guess they're hoping Wolverine hits the Nexus and stays there, but even at 15 power, it wouldn't have been enough. It wouldn't have even been close. You can see our demons are coming through, our Angela is up, our Bishop is huge. We even play Spider-Ham again just to make sure that they know that they didn't get to play that death. So a nice win there. Now, this was the other list I wanted to try him in because I feel like Spider-Ham can maybe fit in pretty much any list. It's, it's a 1/1 that has a ton of effect ability. So it can kind of just fit in. So what I wanted to do here was use Iron Lad. We tossed Howard the Duck in there. We've got a few cards that we'd love to pull out of our deck. Maybe our Dr. Doom, our leader, things like that. So this is the list I went with. Spider-Ham and Howard at 1. We love Howard giving us the ability to see what's going on, and we already talked about Spider-Ham. Theirs comes through and takes out our Odin. Little bit frustrating, but ultimately not too bad. We do pick up our Spider-Ham right here. It's a nice card that you don't mind tossing into Murder World to lose. You get to keep, that location open. Additionally, he might be good to use to, break some locations that, a card needs to be played there before you can play there. Things like that. I'm blanking on the name of the location right now, but as a 1/1 and most of his power coming from his effect, that could be huge. And you saw right there, he just hit Dr. Doom, probably one of the best cards to hit. It's a 6-drop that has a ton of power. We've got a ton of 6-drops in our hand, so we got a bit lucky that it did hit our Odin and not our Dr. Doom. But yeah, let's get back to talking about this list. So we talked about the 1-drops. Our 2-drops, we're going Zabu and Jeff. The reason we got Zabu, obviously, is for the discounts. We've got Jubilee, Jessica Jones, Iron Lad as 3 4-drops. So if we can get a discount on them, maybe play them on 3, then we're feeling pretty good. Our only 3-drop is going to be Wave. Now, we got Wave for a couple of reasons. One, we would feel pretty good just playing Wave on 5 and, really countering those Sarah decks, those bounce decks really hard. Additionally, we can use Wave to get Dr. Doom out early or Leader out early, and then we could always Odin either of those 2 cards on 6 as well. So I really like the inclusion of Wave in this list. Jubilee, again, we've got lots of cards that we would love to pull from our deck. Any card we're pulling is going to feel pretty good, so Jubilee is a nice inclusion. Jessica Jones, she doesn't get a whole lot of love, but I think she's a really, really solid card. I don't mind Iron Lad copying her either. So I like her kind of just as like a, I don't want to say like a vanilla 4/4 because she does get the on reveal, you know, +4 if you don't play on that location. But just nice to see her actually being used in a deck and, you know, being good. Our other 4-drop is Iron Lad. Obviously, we are trying to, you know, to hit some of these power cards in the form of Dr. Doom, Jubilee, Leader, things like that. Our only 5-drop is going to be Spider-Man. We definitely want to have the ability to lock our opponent out of a location if possible. And obviously, Spider-Man is the guy for the job. Now, our 3/6 drops are going to be Leader, Dr. Doom, and Odin. We already talked about them a little bit with Wave, but we'd love to get them out early, get a second proc thanks to Odin, and, you know, really use those cards to spread some power out and just kind of win the game. As you can see here, we're able to get both of our 1-drops down early. We've got options as 2-drops as well with Jeff and Zabu. So, you know, this deck actually plays really nicely. Obviously, the locations here are a bit tough simply because we don't want to put too much into Jotunheim. The vault we know is closing on 6, so we've got to get our power in there early. Sakaar just comes through to make things even more difficult because now something is being randomly pulled from our hand. And, you know, obviously we've got no control over that. We wouldn't mind Dr. Doom. Probably wouldn't want Jubilee, which is why we decided, well, we think about playing her. Jeff, probably don't want Sakaar pulling Jeff just because he's not the best. So ultimately, we are going to get Jeff down and see what Sakaar does. They play a Black Panther into Jotunheim, and, you know, they pull Odin. We do pull our Dr. Doom. So we get a really nice pull there, and we spread our power out. We're going on turn 5. And we can, you know, we can make a move here. We've got Wave if we want to go ahead and slow them down even further. But we'd rather just go Jubilee because they're already only playing 1 card next turn. And with us having Odin in hand, we can just play that right onto Dr. Doom, spread some more power, and we should get a nice, easy win. So Jubilee does come down and pulls Jessica Jones. We know we're not going to be playing on that location because we know we're playing Odin, so Jessica Jones is going to get buffed, and we're going to get some Doom bots over to those other locations, and, you know, we are in a really, really nice spot in this game. They obviously can only play 1 card, so it would be a bit tough for them to pull this back. Maybe an Arnim Zola on top of the Black Panther would get it done, but, you know, we really like where we're at with this game. Spider-Ham definitely having an impact again. It makes your opponent's final plays a whole lot weaker because that's where you're looking to really take advantage of those effects like Odin's, like Dr. Doom, like Leader, things like that. And we'll see that they actually end up going with a Leader here, which, great, they get an Odin, but we really only played Odin for those extra Doom bots. Jessica Jones gets buffed. Their Leader comes down. They are going to win Sakaar, but we're going to win the other 2. And we take a nice, easy victory here. Spider-Ham, again, playing a part in this win. All right, just some final words on Spider-Ham here. You can see the on reveal. Transform the highest cost card in your opponent's hand into a pig, keeping its power and cost. There's the pig oinking at us right here. I tried him in 2 decks, and honestly, I think Spider-Ham's great. I think that if you've got the credits, it's a card worth picking up because he provides more value than just a 1/1. I think these 2 decks that I tried him in, you know, while they are completely different, I think he fits perfectly. And what that tells me is he's probably going to fit into most lists, and therefore that's a big plus in my book. So if you've got the credits, you want a fun card, you want to weaken your opponent, you know, disruption style, definitely think about picking up Spider-Ham. It's a fun card to have. If you've hung around till now, I really do appreciate you. Now would also be a good time to subscribe and like the video if you haven't already. I am going to be continuing to put out more Marvel Snap content. So, hey, be on the lookout for that. And until next time, have some fun.